Welcome back to the podcast, Conversations with Jeff Bucknam. Dr. Jeff Bucknam is the lead teaching pastor of Harvest Bible Chapel, and I am your host, Tommy Creutz. And today we've got a conversation because we believe that everyone has a story, and we're going to get into that in just a second. But we got another conversation right before that, and it's going to be about, Jeff, what is it going to be about today?
It's going to be. You didn't do a lot of work for this, did you?
I came up with a couple topics.
Okay, what are your topics?
Yeah, so we could talk about, well, there's so many things going on in the world right specifically now.
Yeah.
The Olympics. The Super Bowl just happened.
The Super Bowl. The Rust.
The Bears. Mike Ditka.
And Colonel Sanders before him.
And mask mandates and vaccine mandates are coming down.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, there's a possible war.
Just like a shifting moment in the history of our countries.
There really are a lot of things happening.
Justin Trudeau just said that everybody in his country is an enemy of this state. And
that's one I didn't even hear about.
He can steal money from everyone now.
Good.
Yeah, he declared martial law, basically.
Wow.
Because there's a bunch of trucks parked in the Capitol.
I have heard about that.
That's it.
What is it called? The Canadian...
They parked a bunch of trucks in the Capitol.
Yeah.
It's called
like semi-trucks too, right?
Yeah, trucker convoys. They parked all these trucks in the Capitol because they were like, hey, you should take down all the mandates.
Yes.
But instead of meeting with them, he first went and hid.
Good.
We don't know where.
Classic.
Then he came back and said they're all racists. And then they found that they're not racists because they're actually cleaning up trash and stuff on the streets. And they had a conversation with some local people who were like, we don't like you parking on our residential streets. And they were like, oh, sorry, so they crammed more trucks into the center of the city.
Yeah. Do you think sometimes people just use words that maybe...
And then, at the end, he just decided, okay, that's it. We're calling an Emergencies Act, which is martial law, because you guys won't move your trucks.
Yeah.
And it makes it so they can, because they were trying to get the tow truck drivers to pull people out. The tow truck drivers were like, no, we're just going to go park next to him.
Wow. Okay.
And the police are like down there fist bumping the truckers, and the military said, well, don't send us in there. We don't want to do it. So now he's got this Emergencies Act, and he says, well, we can compel the tow truck drivers to tow their trucks. And I don't know how you compel a tow truck driver.
Huh.
Do you think they're actually going to go and like at gunpoint say, you better tow that truck?
I don't know. I feel like I'm not well versed in the Canadian media. I feel like, are you still pretty connected to it? Do you think? Like,
I kind of am, but this is the first time in the Western world where something like this has basically happened. Well, first time in recent memory.
Yeah, sure.
Man.
Yeah, it's kind of a whole thing.
Dude, you get Australia and Canada together? That's wow.
Is that a difficult thing?
That would be
Well, I heard that even like that trucker convoy has gone...
When you show up to the country, the Australians just put you into prison for a couple weeks.
Right.
And then you could be released to Canada where the whole country's a prison for a couple weeks.
Wow.
Just kidding.
Shade.
We have Canadians who listen to our show.
We do?
Yeah, I'm a Canadian.
Well, yeah, that's true.
But also other Canadians listen. So hi to all you Canadians out there.
Hello, Canadians.
We're with you.
Yeah. Exactly.
Whatever that means.
Whatever that means. Yeah. We're with you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things going on.
Super Bowl happened this weekend, Tommy.
It
Did you watch the Super Bowl?
I didn't.
Why not?
Because I don't have cable TV.
Really?
I don't. Isn't that weird? We did this thing where now we just have all the streaming services.
Right.
So essentially it's like direct, like remember when cable TV became like direct TV or whatever that is, where you buy certain channels?
That's you.
It seems like we've gone full circle on it. Now we're back to that, and I've bought all the channels, but I don't have the
TV.
I don't have the regular.
So no sport.
No sports. I'm not much of a sports watcher guy. I enjoy it. I like it. Like I will. But I don't.
Who won the Super Bowl, Tommy?
Yeah, that was obviously LA won it.
Yeah.
And what was the score, I saw Tommy? That.
Tommy, what's the
that
score?
I don't know. I do not know the score. It was close though, wasn't it? Yeah.
Sure.
That Matt Stafford.
You know a little bit.
He deserved it.
A little bit about it. Well, they had a mask mandate in the stadium and nobody wore.
They did. I've seen a lot of pictures of that.
Yeah.
It seemed like no one did it.
Well, let's just say I don't think they were taking the mask mandate that seriously.
Yeah, and those things are coming down apparently.
Yeah,
as
except for if you're a kid.
Is that? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think children still have to wear them.
That's tough
because they're vectors of disease.
Yes, I know that. Having 2 children of my own, there's boogers everywhere in our household.
We should make them wear masks all the time.
Yeah, for sure. Goodness, save us.
Tommy, this is fun. This has been fun. Have you had a good winter? You guys, the last thing I want to talk about with you is that I think in Chicago, you guys overstate how bad the winters are.
We overstate it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you do.
You thought coming in it would be much worse.
I don't think you realize that there are other places where it's horrible.
No, I understand that.
And by horrible, I mean like there are places that are colder.
Yes.
And there are also places where it rains all the time.
Yeah.
And so then you're like, oh, it's kind of so bad. It's so cold.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cold for like a few days. And then it kind of is like just moderately cold.
I would say, and maybe
it's really sunny.
Let me look at my fellow Chicagoans here in the room. This winter, pretty moderate. Would you say? Yeah, it's a very moderate winter. We didn't have any polar vortexes this winter, which
I was cheering for a polar vortex.
I know that's what makes it worth living. It's fun, you know.
Team Vortex.
We had one snowstorm that was like kind of sort of bad. It was very moderate this year.
Yeah, they clear all the roads though by the middle of the day.
Yeah,
which is why why is it a big deal then?
Right. Well, sometimes they just in other places they just don't even clear the roads.
No, where I used to live, it was
me too. In Wisconsin, no clear the roads.
Really?
You don't know. Well, yes. I mean, eventually. But we lived out in the middle of nowhere. So, like, you wait your turn 10 days from now. You just drive or use your snowmobile.
Did you
want to go to the store?
Did you drive a snowmobile to work?
No, I wish. That'd be amazing, though. I know many people who did. They have, this is one thing that I thought was really strange from moving down to Illinois and now even, kind of going out into the more, rural spots in Illinois. In Wisconsin, a really big thing is snowmobiling and snowmobile trailing. And so they have, along the roads in Wisconsin, the snowmobile trails. So they've got their own stop signs and their own, it's a straight up trail, like a bike path would be here.
I get you.
And they're there. And here
is that the same path that they do the Iditarod on?
Yeah. They've got the dogs. It's and so, I thought it was really, really interesting coming down here. But yeah, it's a very, very mild and moderate winter this year. So you have not experienced.
Okay. Well, I'll wait.
The fullness.
I'll wait till another one.
Next year.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get out of this one in, I don't know, end of March. Whenever that happens.
But you guys are even that you complain about. You do realize that the rest of the world doesn't out of winter in March. There are places it's cold. All of Europe is still in winter in March.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
What a bunch of babies.
No. I just think it's it's winter 6 months out of the year.
It is.
It's just
it's not.
All
right.
It's the opposite problem of the places that are really, really hot.
Tommy and I are going to agree to disagree. Let's get to a conversation that's worth something.
Yes, let us get to a conversation worth something. And we have in the podcast studio today, Pastor Jeff Thompson, who is the campus pastor of our Chicago Cathedral Campus. And you guys are going to have a conversation worth having because...
it's Jeff versus Jeff.
Jeff, wow.
Pick your team. Pick your Jeff.
Vote now. Number on the screen, vote. Jeff or Jeff. Will one of you, whoever loses, will they then forever be called Jeffrey? Big stakes. Tune in. We're going to get to the conversation right now. Let's get into it.
I'm seated here with Jeff Thompson. Is it Jeffrey?
Jeff.
No. But did your mom, when you were a little
Jeffrey.
Baby boy, did she say, we'll name him Jeffrey?
Right. R-E-Y, not E-R-Y, not Jeff-ery.
So, funny thing, my son, Micah, he booked an airplane ticket spelling my first name wrong. How does my second son not know how to spell my name? He went E-R-Y. What is that?
E-R-Y, yeah.
ERY is naming Megan MEGYN. What are you doing?
It's wrong. I got a credit card once that said ERY, and I cut it up.
Oh, yeah. Certain lines you just don't cross.
No.
That's one of them. Jeff Thompson, you have been part of Harvest Bible Chapel for a very long time. List off the names of the jobs that you have done at Harvest Bible Chapel.
Ooh. The first job I ever had at Harvest Bible Chapel was at our Niles campus, and I cleaned the bathrooms in the worship center and things like that. So I don't even know what my title was. Building services something. But I got to wear that cool backpack that's like a vacuum cleaner on your back. It's like Ghostbusters.
You didn't have a card at that point?
No card. That was my first job. And then I started as the associate pastor of assimilation and small groups at a Rolling Meadows campus. And then somewhere in there, I was the pastor of our young adults ministry, which we called Connect at the time, pastor of marriage ministry, small groups, all sorts of things like that. And then the adult ministries pastor there, and then campus pastor.
Wow. So, that's a lot of jobs at one church. How long have you been here?
I've been on staff since 2009.
Okay, so 13 years now.
Yeah.
13 years, something like that.
You're better at math than I am, so sure. I believe you.
Well, I mean, if you came at the beginning of 2009, it would be 13.
Yeah. So we've been, my wife and I have been attending Harvest since 2000, but came on staff in 2009. First at Meadows, and then came to the Cathedral in 2014.
Wow. Yep. Jeff, where are you from?
Originally Texas, right outside of Dallas, Irving, where the Cowboys play.
Really?
Yeah.
I knew that.
Yeah.
I did. Irving, Texas. But back when you were there, it was God's spittoon. It was not. It was not the AT&T Jerry Dome.
No, there wasn't the jumbotron like that. But yeah, so I was born in Texas. We moved around a bit. I lived outside of D.C. in Maryland for a number of years.
Why?
And then
why did you move?
My dad's job kind of moved us around a couple times. He worked mostly in human resources, but for a couple different companies. And
do you remember living in Texas?
I do.
Yeah, what do you remember of Texas?
Yeah, a lot of stuff like playing in the neighborhood with the kids and stuff. We left when I was 7, so I wasn't like...
So not a lot of memories of Texas.
No, but I have memories of like that house with the really big backyard and, like things like that.
Yeah.
But nothing...
Did your mom have a lot of big hair then? Because that's when I moved to Texas.
There is a lot of
that was the thing that I noticed. We were moved in the late 90s, and immediately we showed up. I was like, whoa, that's some big hair.
Yeah. Big hair and white pickup trucks. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
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 There was a lot of those.
And now everyone owns a Lexus. Even if you don't if you can't afford a Lexus, you still get a Lexus. I don't know why.
It's like an Oprah thing. You get a Lexus. You get a Lexus.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Good.
So you moved around. Like, what do you call home then? Like, what is when you step foot back into whatever location, where would you say is my hometown?
Yeah, I mean, it's really Chicago. So when I was 12 or 13, I think we moved to the west suburbs, Geneva.
Oh, wow.
And
isn't that like the trendy little spot that everybody says, oh, you got to go to Geneva?
It is now, yeah.
Was it like that then?
No, I mean, it was supposed to be like this white picket fence town, and, it was all right. Like, I had a good group of friends there, and we had a good church down there that we went to at the time, and so really Chicagoland is what I consider home. And then Sarah and my wife and I have lived in the city off and on for a long time, over 10 years. So that's really like, we love the city. And
so Chicago is I'm assuming you like it because you've been here a long time. You've had opportunities to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite part of Chicago?
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I mean, one of my favorite things is...
I'm new to Chicago. Tell me something good about the city or the area, the suburbs, whatever.
I love that there's, specifically with the city, I love that there's great diversity, both of types of people, but of neighborhoods and restaurants and things to do. And so we love that. I love that my kids go to a school with a whole lot of different people from a whole lot of different backgrounds, and and truthfully, a whole lot of different worldviews. And so while obviously that presents challenges, and a lot of Christians, I think, are scared of that kind of thing, I love that. I love the hard conversations with my kids about the kid in their school who believes such and such a thing. And so I love that diversity of the way that the Lord has made people, and how people like genuinely are right now, that we're not hiding from those sorts of things, but we're seeking to engage for Jesus Christ in the best way that we can. So,
right.
yeah.
Did you always think that you were going to be doing ministry in this city?
No. I think.
What did you, when you were a little boy, what did Jeff Thompson want to be? What did little Jeffrey want to be when he grew up?
Yeah. I mean, I don't, like I grew up playing sports, kind of everything.
Oh, so like a major league baseball player.
Yeah, I mean, there were some times I wanted to be MLB, but I think, I got into hockey. That was like a thing for me. I wasn't honestly amazing or anything like that, but I got.
What position did you play in hockey?
I usually played right wing,
okay.
And then I got stuck on defense. Because
why would they play you as a
massive
defenseman? I was going to say, aren't the defensemen
I started playing.
Big guys?
Yeah. We started a team when I was in high school, and there was.
You started a team?
Our high school started a team.
Oh, I see. It was like
my sophomore
Jeff
year.
Started
not
a team.
Me personally. No.
Started a team.
No. A group of people got together that we were a part of and started a team, and we there was like me and 4 other guys who had really ever played organized hockey, and so me and another guy named Aaron, who were probably the most seasoned, I suppose. They put us both on defense, even though Aaron was by far the best person on the team. But they were like, we need a little stability. So, yeah.
Did you guys lose a lot?
We lost a whole lot.
Wow.
Like a whole lot. I think
so.
Our
Do you
first
play
year
against
we only
other
lost,
high school hockey teams?
Yeah.
The first year you lost how many?
Oh gosh, all of them. But I think we won 2 games, maybe 3.
But what games they were?
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you score goals?
Yeah.
From a defenseman's position?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Big slap shots and all that?
No, I mean, usually I'd take it up.
Take what?
Yeah, you as a defenseman, you're from Canada. You've seen hockey play.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know. I only know a few phrases in hockey, like cycle the puck. Do you know what that means?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, most people don't. I didn't know.
Yeah, that's like when you're in the boards and you hit it off the boards.
Yeah, I used to just yell that whenever I'd watch the games with my friends. Just cycle the puck.
Yeah, and just start yelling.
They seemed to think that was a good idea.
Yeah, just random hockey terms.
Whenever I'd watch it, they'd be like, "Yeah, that's good. We need to cycle the puck
let's
more."
do that some more. Yeah.
But you were a goal. You scored some goals.
Yeah, not a ton.
All right. If I were sitting right now, if I were in a, I put on the hockey gear, right?
Okay.
And we were going to go 1-on-1, like you're going to do the shootout thing.
Okay.
Could you score me?
Are you a goalie? Or
yeah.
Oh.
Score on me.
Yeah, I'm sure I could.
I don't think so. I don't even play.
You don't know what cycle the puck means.
I don't even play.
I know.
I can't even skate, but you're not scoring on me. No way. No way. So why do they get so sweaty, hockey players?
Because you got a lot of equipment on.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we were taught, like growing up, it was, our coach used to say, if you can breathe after 2 minutes, you're not skating hard enough.
Oh,
so it's very much like it's not like marathon running or something like that. It's very much like, you're skating at a 10.
Yeah.
And then go sit down for a little while, and then 10 again, and then, So.
Was there ever a point when you were playing that you thought, I could do this beyond just this high school team?
I mean, there were times I wanted to play college, or I never thought I was anywhere close to good enough to play like pros or anything like that.
But you thought you might be able to play in college?
Yeah, probably. I had an opportunity to, and kind of gave it up for a little while, and yeah, it's basically like it wasn't. I really saw a conflict in the way, not for everybody, but the way that I was acting on the ice. In a way that was sort of contrary to my walk with the Lord, truthfully.
Okay.
I was the only believer on the team, and I was one of the alternate captains, and I was leading the team in penalty minutes. And
that's part of the game, right?
Well, yeah, but there are some penalties that you get and some that you're like, yeah. So I found
You just lose your temper in hockey.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think anger is something that the Lord's worked on in me a lot of times, and that was something that I just kept coming up. And so I had an opportunity to play college hockey. Nowhere like,
Yeah, but you still had a chance to go and play on a college hockey team,
Yeah.
but you decided not to do it because it was because of the, man, I don't like the kind of person this is making me.
I'm not gonna do it anymore. And then, I don't know. The Lord kind of dealt with that in some ways, and I ended up still playing just pickup hockey and some men's league stuff and things like that. And I still play. I took some time off, just life, kids and things like that, and then I started again, actually a couple months ago, and I've been playing about twice a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you scored a goal
exercise.
since you picked up?
Yeah, but it's just pickup hockey. It's like,
well, you couldn't score on me, so scoring on them is a big deal. Well, I don't think so. Yeah. So seriously, what did you want to do when you were growing up? And your dad was in HR. Did you think, what was your mom? Did you grow up in a family? Your parents were married and all that. Everything was good. Brothers and sisters.
Yeah, I have one younger brother. He's like 2.5 years younger than I am, and we loved each other. We were also at each other's throats all the time about fighting over video games and fighting over sports and stuff like that. But he and I have a good relationship now. And I grew up a very happy home, and parents are still together, still married, and
Christian home.
So
were you allowed to play video games that were not Christian?
Yeah.
What was the best video game
we
you
weren't.
played?
There was a time when we weren't allowed to watch The Simpsons for a little while, which is
until somebody wrote a book called The Gospel According to The Simpsons, and you were like, I didn't know it was a Christian show. Yeah. So you were right into it.
I didn't either. Yeah, but we grew up in a Christian home. I was really blessed by the fact that my parents, I was going to church as early as I can remember. And both my parents, serving in the church and going on mission trips and things like that. And so
your parents did. They went on mission trips. And did you go along?
So,
you stayed home?
No, a little bit like into high school and into college and things like that. Yeah, for sure did a bunch of those kind of things. So, but grew up in a family loving the Lord, and I think for me, just instilled in me a love for God's Word at a really young age, and just a lot of different opportunities through that. I think for me, your initial question, I think, was what did I want to do when I grew up, and I think I always I've loved people, and I've loved interacting with people and learning about them and learning about the way that people think. Yeah. And so, I don't know, for a long time I thought, maybe I'd do something in business with HR like my dad had done. I thought for a long time about doing something like counseling. I really, things about marketing were always interesting to me, studying the way that people think and then developing ads and things like that around the way that people think. And then I think as I grew in my faith, I thought, maybe I'll do something in ministry, but I always had this idea that there had to be a call. I always heard about this calling and so I thought I haven't sat on a mountain, had the clouds part and the Lord speak to me audibly, go plant a church, or something like that. So I thought I don't know, unless that happens, I guess I'll just figure it out. So,
do you know what I used to do? A lot of assessment for church planters. Well, I didn't do a lot of it, but I enough. Every church planter I ever assessed had a story about them crying somewhere in the city that they were going to plant a church. Every one of them. And it actually got to the point where as soon as they told the crying story, everybody was like, wow, they're called, because they cried. And one guy talked about how he was crying in Costco at the city. I was like, well, that's an odd place to cry. But he was just so overwhelmed. He was just so overwhelmed
by
with
the size of the mayo jars in Costco.
Yeah, another guy was like, I was sitting overlooking the bridge, and I just started weeping for everybody has a story like that. And after a while, you do get to the point, if you want to be a church planter, a lot of guys are like, well, I don't know, man. Yeah. And if you came to them and said, I think you have what it takes to plant a church, you're entrepreneurial, you're kind of a leader, evangelist, that kind of stuff. They're like, oh, but I haven't. I don't cry. Yeah. I didn't have a tear, which is really interesting, right?
Yeah.
That's the way it's gone. But you didn't get so you're in ministry now. Yep. Do you feel like there was a moment where you were like, no, I'm going into ministry, and that was there a story around that, or is it just kind of you just fell into it?
No. Yeah, I mean, I think it was like an ongoing thing for me. Yeah, I mean, even in high school, like I had a few youth leaders who were like, I think you should, think about going into full-time ministry. And I was like, I don't know, I haven't had a call. I haven't, And, but, so I thought that was a maybe for me. So I decided to go to a Christian college that was a liberal arts Christian college because I was like, then I can decide.
Called?
Judson College.
That's
here
right
in
down the street?
Here in street, yeah.
I ride my bike by Judson University now.
Well, they changed it to university, which I don't know. They think it sounds more prestigious, but I don't know.
Really quickly, but for those of you who don't know, Judson you can actually see it from the freeway from I-90, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in the winter.
Yeah, it's got a high, is that the dormitory? There's a big, maybe dormitory or something on it. Yeah. Anyway, they have a whole bunch of flags in front of this dormitory. Are those flags like from different countries of the students who are there, or just ones that they picked, or?
Yeah, at least when I went there, that was at least what we were told, was that's
students.
where all of the students are from. So there's a
lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. How big is Judson College when you were there?
I don't know. I mean, I think when I went there, I think it was maybe like 1,100 students.
Okay. So
maybe 1,000.
So small enough to like know a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, you pretty much knew everybody.
Wow.
At least people who were close to your class and everything like that.
So your degree, 4 years at Judson?
Yeah. Biblical studies with a minor in psych.
And you lived there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. I lived in the dorms there. Wilson Hall. I was an RA there a couple years. Yeah. I honestly loved my time there. I had like great relationships with a whole lot of godly guys. Had really good experiences there. Had some good profs. I met my wife there. It was a win, I would say. But even
was your wife from Chicago too?
Yeah, she was born right here in Elgin, actually.
Well, Judson's in Elgin.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So she lived in Wheaton for a while, and then moved out.
Wheaton, where's that?
Wheaton. Where is that? And then moved out, kind of past Rockford, a little town called Durand.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she came back home. To go
and then
to college.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you met her when?
We met I first met her my freshman year. So she was still a senior in high school, and I didn't remember this until later. I know it was a little. And I was a Judson ambassador, which basically meant I was one of the dopey kids who showed the potential students around the school.
That's not a bad job.
Yeah, it was great. Around. Yeah, get free pizza. It's good. And we had this game. They called them the lame games because they were in fact lame. And the way that we picked teams was you go up to a person of the opposite sex and you ask their name, and then you do a dance and a song with using that person's name.
In front of, right there.
Oh, yeah, like everybody's in a big circle in the gym for this kind of thing. So I, of course, picked the attractive girl that was there and walked up to her, and I said, "What's your name?" And she said, "Sarah," and I don't remember the dance, but
Sarah, Bobera, Banana Effect.
Exactly. And then so we were on the same team. I don't remember that meeting at all until like later on. I was like, "You were the girl," that kind of thing.
You were the girl that I sang a song about.
Yeah. But then we met again. It must have had an impression on her because she came to school there. Which was,
wow.
I like to think that it's because of my dance.
It probably was.
Yeah, probably. And so then a little bit after she came, so her freshman year, my sophomore year, we went on a spiritual life retreat. So they took a bunch of us up to Green Lake, Wisconsin, and sitting around the fire after one of the sessions, and I just went up and started talking to her, and we had a really great conversation. And
around the fire at the spiritual life retreat is probably the genesis of many a marriage.
I would think so. And I've said, we met at a spiritual life retreat, and my life has been very spiritual ever since.
So when did you get married to her?
We got married like right after I graduated. So we dated for a couple of years.
Okay.
And then, really just like the summer, really a few weeks after I graduated college.
Okay.
So it would have been 2002. Yeah. So
20 years.
It'll be 20 years in May.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
that's a
thanks.
good long haul.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So you after you finish college, are you thinking to yourself, ministry now?
Yeah, so during my time at college, a couple of good relationships with different professors, one in particular who talked about that idea of calling. And he was like, well, it doesn't look the way that for everybody, it doesn't look the same way. And really, I think the thing, because I had had such a love of God's word and grown, in study of that, even in like high school and things like that through precept ministries, I did their boot camp where they teach you to study the word. And so a big thing that he did, this professor, Dr. Girali, is he was like, where do you see calling in God's word? And we kept like looking at, and truthfully, there aren't a lot of places in God's word that talk about calling except being called to the faith.
Yeah, or gifted.
Yeah, and there's just not a ton in the way that we see it, I think, in our Western world. And so that was really eye-opening to me. And so we've, even with our staff here, we've talked a lot about the idea of stewardship. Yeah. Like, I believe that the best stewardship of my life is vocational ministry, So I think through my time, Dr. Girali kind of mentored me for a bunch of my time there. And I think just like, it was sort of like a slowly unfolding of that, where by the time I got to my end of my sophomore year, even, I was like, I don't know that I can do anything else. I feel like,
like
this
was
the things that
thing.
the Lord, it was almost like a logical thing for me. It wasn't, I didn't cry over the city. It was like, look what God's given me, the way that he's built me, and
the experiences you had in your life.
It fits kind of thing. And honestly, it was more of a decision. Like, yeah, I'll do that, So graduated college, and then felt like I need to get more training. So I went straight to Trinity and did an MDiv up there.
Why did you go to Trinity? Trinity Evangelical Divinity School.
Yes. Yeah. Probably because it was the most expensive seminary that I could find. No, I think,
it's local.
Yeah. I mean,
you didn't go to Wheaton though, and you didn't go to Moody.
No. No, I think a lot of it was a lot of the people who wrote the books that were at a lot of other seminaries. I felt like they were at Trinity, and I personally just felt like I want to go to the best one I could find, and for me and where I was at, I felt like that's the best opportunity for me to do that.
So did you start working at the church then, or serving at Harvest while you were in seminary?
Yeah, so that you're at the end of your time in seminary, you have to do an internship. And so I was looking for a year-long internship because I was working, Sarah and I were married a couple years, like 3 years in at that point, and, felt like we were working all the time and had no money, and so I was working and going to school, and so I was trying to do like about a year-long internship, and that was the same time that we started the Niles campus. When the church,
which is kind of close to there.
Yeah. So I mean, right when I started attending the Niles campus when it was like the third Sunday, it was a Harvest, I think, and got really connected there and involved. And they were kind of like, we need people to do men's ministry and small groups and kids ministry, and and I was kind of like, I'll do it, And so, so I started serving there. Brian Beeman was on our staff at that time. He's since gone to plant a church in Michigan, but so he was like a good friend of mine, and they kind of stuck Brian there. I think he would say, like, because they didn't know what else to do with them, and, but it was great getting to serve with Brian and deepen our friendship together too. But just lots of different opportunities to serve there. And get credit for it, So, and then that was when I also had my first job of cleaning the building. So I would go and do like men's ministry stuff, preparing for the men's breakfast that's happening this Saturday, and then I would go put that backpack on and like vacuum the worship center, so the seats were all So
that's great.
Yeah,
that's great. And that was how many?
I just did that for a year.
Okay,
that was my third year of seminary. We were attending Harvest through all of that.
Okay. Why did you come to Harvest?
A girl brought me.
Is it the same girl?
It's the same girl that I'm married to for 20 years. Yes, fortunately. When Sarah and I started dating in college, we were like, let's find a church together. And she was attending Harvest. I was attending another church, and we just started visiting different churches. And
what's that like?
And it was really unique for me because I'm a very loyal person. And so like to go, I love trying a new restaurant or whatever, but like when I'm committed to something, it's really hard for me to be like, I'm done,
Yeah.
And so I see it now. I didn't at the time, but that church that I was going to was it ended up dying for a lot of reasons, and it's really sad. But I think it was kind of headed down, and I didn't see that, and I didn't want to see that, and I was like, no, I'm in. So like thinking about going to a new church was hard. Another piece of that was I had dated the pastor's daughter. Ooh. And clearly wasn't anymore because I was dating Sarah. And so that was also a little awkward.
Well,
so
especially in a smaller church. You're like,
in one way I'm like, it's probably good for me to go somewhere else. So yeah. And I always thought we grew up going to really small churches, great churches, but, really small. And so I always saw churches like Harvest as places, they're big because they don't preach the gospel. That's why, that was kind of what, I don't even know if that was told to me or if that's just something I believed, but that's really what I thought. And I was blown away when we first came to Harvest, and I was like, my goodness, the word is open. It's clearly proclaimed
it broke some categories.
This isn't what I thought it was,
Yeah.
And so we looked at a few other places, but everywhere I was like, nope. So this was her church. And so I was like, all right, let's go to your church. So that's kind of how we got started here.
So now you're the campus pastor at the Chicago Cathedral.
Yeah.
You need to tell me what that's like. What do you like about being the campus pastor of Chicago Cathedral? By the way, what is that building? What was it?
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's built in 1861, and then
survived the fire.
The exterior walls did, and they rebuilt it, I think, in like 1874 or something like that. It was built by the Unitarians. They had it for a number of years. They sold it to the Masons right about 1900, 1904, somewhere like that. And so the Masons had it for like 100 years. And then in 2006, a developer bought the whole block, and it just sat there for years. And then we were given the building in 2011, 2012, somewhere like that. Our first service was 2012 there at that location. And it is a beautiful building. It's we were with some of the ops people this morning just kind of walking through. There are all sorts of issues for a building.
Oh, that
old,
it's old, right? What are you going to do?
Yeah, but it's an amazing gift of the Lord, like right on that corner, right across the street from a park. And, of course, it's a beautiful building. And it's really been cool because as far as we know, that we did a youth event in the summer of 2012. And as far as we understand it, that's the first time that gospel was ever preached in that building. Yeah. And it's really been cool to see, I remember one time doing a baptism of a kid who was like 9 or 10 years old and just thinking like, oh my goodness, we're in this building with so much history. And here's this young kid who's clearly proclaiming the gospel and getting baptized. It's just like such a cool. Yeah.
So at the cathedral, there are good things and bad things.
Yeah.
Tell me the bad things first.
Okay.
Like just ministry in this city. I'm just saying the cathedral, and don't mention names. Do you know what I mean? When I say bad things, you're thinking David
that
Kreider.
person and that.
Like, and I'm like, wow, no, I didn't mention that.
No,
he's one of our elders.
Yeah,
I'm just teasing.
I won't tell him. Yeah, no, actually, Kreider and I went to school together. He went to Judson.
Wow.
And so I've known him for 20 years or something like that. I would say that the most difficult thing is also potentially one of the most exciting things about it too. The most difficult thing is because it's in the city, it cycles people a lot. Just because of its location, people don't...
Transient.
Yeah, it's hard to live in the city for a long time if you have kids. You have to make the decision, we want to be in the city.
Right.
Otherwise, you start realizing how small your house is, and my goodness, I could pay a third of this and get a bigger house,
Yeah.
Or...
well, there's a reason that people have moved to the suburbs all those years, right?
Yeah, and it's fine. It's totally fine. I'm not judging anybody's decision on that. But because of that, it creates a little bit of a a challenge to do ministry, because you feel like, man, we build into this family so much, and you see their kids growing, and they get about 11 years old, and you're like, oh no, when are they move into Elgin?
That's right.
So so I think that's been the most challenging thing, is just the transient nature of it.
Yeah.
But that is also the exciting thing. We get a lot of college students, a lot of young adults. It's like their first real job, away from home. And it is an incredible opportunity to pour into some people, to give them some leadership development skills, and to give them some Bible knowledge, and see them grow in leading a small group and serving in our ushers team and all those kind of things. And then to think about, I have no idea where these people are going to be and what churches the Lord's going to take them to when they move to, Kansas or whatever. But it's really cool to think we get to
get a part to play in their life.
Yeah.
Right. And a foundational part in many ways, right? Because a lot of people, that's when their faith kind of becomes their own, right?
Yeah.
If they're going to go to church in the city, they come from some other place, and then they're trying, trying out what different approaches to life and things like that, and you have an opportunity to provide for them the Christian one, which is fantastic.
Yeah, so it's exciting, but that's probably the most challenging thing. It's like, they're leaving.
There are 6 different kinds of chairs in your worship center. This is my favorite part of that.
6,
5?
Yeah, 5, I think.
Yeah. So if
maybe
you
6.
go to different parts, if you go into the cathedral, which I recommend to everyone, it would be a great thing to do on a Sunday. Seriously, especially around the summertime.
Yeah.
Or spring or autumn or whatever. Just go into the city, worship at the cathedral at 10 a.m., and then spend the day.
Yeah. Come find me. I'll tell you the coffee shops to go to. I'll tell you the restaurants to try. But it was a great day to go in there. You guys could see it and stuff. But the building itself, the worship room itself is it's phenomenal. Yeah.
I mean, it's old and it's got this historic vibe to it.
Yeah.
I preached there. This is my 3rd time, I think, that I've preached in there. But this last weekend was the first time I'd ever done it in the morning. Mm-hmm. I loved it. They have stained glass windows, and the sun was kind of coming through them. And I was like, okay, I like this a lot.
Yeah, and as you preach, you're looking back towards that massive organ.
Yeah,
it's the second oldest in the United States.
So cool.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
The organ still works.
It does.
It's out of tune.
Yeah, it's about a half step off, I'm told. I don't know.
Whatever a step is. I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Just it sounds. There's something that sounds really wonky
it's
about
just
it.
out of tune, yeah.
All right, JT.
Yeah.
Do you want to be a campus pastor the rest of your life?
I don't know. I think if you asked me, 15 years ago, do you want to be a campus pastor? I would have said, what's a campus pastor?
Yeah.
We didn't have those, you know. I think what I want to do is I want to communicate God's word. I think I've, it's kind of been, I suppose, a long journey with that, but I really have grown more and more in loving preaching and communicating God's word in that way. And so I'd love to continue to do that. I love to mentor and disciple people in their growth. Specifically, I love building into leaders and seeing them flourish in different ways. So I don't know. I've actually said that since college, those two things. I want to communicate God's word, and I want to build into leaders. And so I don't know whatever that looks like. I'm not, I don't have a grand plan for exactly what it looks like necessarily, but I'm like, I want to do those two things.
Yeah. I think I speak for a lot of people though, when I said, I think that you absolutely have a gift of communication and that you should consider that strongly. I mean, you're on our teaching team. Yeah. But
I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do in ministry. And I think I felt that was a gifting for a long time, and then for a long time felt like, okay, I guess maybe it's not. You
just didn't have opportunity.
And so felt like, okay.
Because how many sermons have you preached in your life?
Less than 50 for sure. Oh. I mean, I don't know. We were talking a couple weeks ago, and I counted, and I think it was like 34. And I've preached twice since then, so 36. Maybe 36 now.
Wow.
Something like that. That includes the terrible ones.
When we get to the 50th,
I did,
though, we should have a little party. Right?
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Yeah. Sometimes there's probably sometime next year, maybe.
Okay.
Around there, right?
Probably. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Something like that. So, yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. Okay, I got a lightning round real quick.
All right.
Okay, names your kids.
Names of my kids?
Ages, too.
Okay. Judah is 14. Elias is 10. And Hope, Paulina Hope, she's just about to turn 8. She's 7 right now. So.
What did you do during the riots downtown? Were you there at all?
No.
At any time?
No.
Why was there blood on the front doorstep of the church when I came and visited one day? It was like a pool of blood.
What do you... Oh, that... Gosh.
Oh, that.
Oh,
that.
I honestly don't know how that got there. That sounds like I'm trying to cover something up, but no, I really don't know how it got there. I would say we do
what somebody would say if they knew.
One of the other challenges we get, there's a lot of like clubs and things like that aren't too far from the cathedral, and so lots of times Saturday nights can be kind of crazy in the city, just that sort of thing. And so there's a lot of people who've had a little too much to drink, and so it's not uncommon for us to find like a whole bunch of garbage in our front lawn on a Sunday morning when I show up or things like that. So it wouldn't surprise me if it was something like that.
Right. What does your brother do now?
My brother does, I don't even remember what it's called. He does, like for different companies, they have a sound signature. So he's done a lot of graphic design. He's super artistic and creative. It's like the total opposite of me in a lot of ways. But he'll meet with companies and develop like a sound profile so that they'll use in commercials, or they'll use in if it's a car company and in like an auto show or things like that. It's really interesting and fascinating the ways that he come up with these. I don't remember what it's called.
Okay.
I've asked him.
What kind of car do you drive?
I drive an 06 BMW.
I didn't ask you the year.
Yeah,
I asked you what kind of car it was.
It's a BMW 3.
You own a BMW?
I do. I bought it off of another staff member for $2,000.
Yes, I remember this BMW.
And you do, because the weekend you were here to interview had an interesting experience for you. I know.
Yeah, it stopped working, and then I think it was me and my wife pushed it to the.
No, that's not entirely
kind of
true.
though.
No, me and you.
That's
pushed
right.
it, and your wife steered. That's what happened.
Right.
Yeah, it was. I keep telling you, that was part of the interview.
It was
planned.
Let's see if you can push a car.
I intentionally made my alternator malfunction at that exact moment, so that you would have to push it with me. So let's see how you act. Yeah. You passed. You're
I did.
Here.
I'm here. I was willing to push. JT, it's such a pleasure to talk to you. I get to talk to you lots of times, but it's great to share this with you on this platform.
Yeah, thanks.
If you guys see JT around, of course, you need to pat him on the back and tell him how great he is at hockey and that he probably couldn't score on me. Anyway, it's great to talk to you, and it's we'll catch the rest of you next time.
All right.